Hi friends, here is Editing Ish, here to tell you that this podcast that I did with Chow, we recorded it on our video call, so there's a little bit of like a cutting issue and it was a mammoth edit to do. All the scenes that we have spoken about, I'm going to put a link to all of them that have YouTube like clippings down below, so you can check that out. I'm also going to put a synopsis of each of the films that we spoke about down below, so make sure you go and look at that and watch them if in case you are confused. And we had a lot of fun making this podcast, so Chow says it at the end, but I'd like to remind you right now, like, share and subscribe, and please do, because this is a nice series. I like it. Yeah, okay, that's all I had to say. Enjoy.
Alright.
Great, we are back with the Chit Chat and Charcha, but this time with Chow. Chit Chat and Charcha with Chow again, of course. This time we decided that in continuation of the series about film, we're going to talk about dialogue writing.
Also, can I start with a disclaimer? See, honestly, like a lot of people think like, oh, this is the best dialogues in cinema. This is not the best dialogues out there. We are not saying that these are like the top 10 dialogues that can ever be. We are just saying that these dialogues are some that we personally remember the most.
Yeah.
I personally remember the most, and they have had the most impact on me in terms of how much I have liked that scene because of that dialogue.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Two quotes to start off with on this dialogue podcast. One is by Hitchcock, of course, where he says dialogue should simply be a sound among other sounds, just something that comes out of the mouths of people whose eyes tell the story in visual terms. And the second thing is by Robert Town. He wrote Mission Impossible and Tequila Sunrise and was uncredited for The Godfather, it seems. That is interesting. But anyway, he says good dialogue illuminates what people are not saying. So let's start with Gangs of Wasseypur.
काहे कि हम सनीमा नहीं देखते।
सनीमा?
जब छोटे थे तो सब जो लौंडे लोग हैं सब चाहे देखे गंगा जमुना और सब चाहे बनना दिलीप कुमार और लड़कियन का सब पसंद था देवानंद।
Basically he's saying that like इंडिया में सब चूतिया इसलिए बन रहे हैं कि हिंदी सिनेमा ने उन्हें ऐसा दिखा दिया है उनके दिमाग में. And then he goes on to show, elucidate his example by saying that earlier it was all the girls used to like Dilip Kumar and all the guys used to like Bachchan. Everyone had their preference and सबके दिमाग में अपनी story चल रही है.
संजय दत्त सब साले सबके दिमाग में अपनी अपनी पिक्चर चल रही है. सब साले हीरो बनना चाह रहे हैं अपनी पिक्चर में. साला हिंदुस्तान में जब तक सनीमा है लोग चूतिया बनते रहेंगे.
Which is kind of like what Gangs of Wasseypur is about. Like सबके दिमाग में अपनी अलग story चल रही है and they are not understanding what is happening in the bigger picture of everything. And it's a very meta dialogue. I really like it because it's a dialogue about film in a film which is talking about something much larger, the whole systemic problem of like our country also, I feel in a lot of ways, is that we have no integrity. So सब लोग अपने life के directions में देखना चाहते हैं कि मेरा सबसे अच्छा कैसे हो सकता है, and that's it.
But Ramadhir Singh at that point in time, being the Don that he was before, now is older, more what's the right word, that he ruminates about life and says these large, more impactful dialogues, etc. And I think it really fits into the age also, his age bracket also. Yeah, actually Gangs of Wasseypur, like both films, very interestingly uses galis to it's a character trait of the entire film and of all of the characters and the world.
Like even in that movie Scarface,
yeah,
if you see I think there are a lot of swear words, and very distinct swear words, I feel, but it still works because I feel like, you know, from the place that the characters are coming from, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So I really like that, even in gangs. Like, none of the dialogues sort of, you know, unnecessarily use them.
Yeah. Great. Okay, let's move on to the next one, which is Jab We Met. Of course, and the most iconic character Geet, and her most iconic dialogue, which I think everyone resonates with, which is मैं अपनी favorite हूँ.
तुम अपने आप को बहुत पसंद करती हो ना?
बहुत. मैं अपनी favorite हूँ.
I really like this dialogue because it explains Geet in the most few words that there are.
That one sentence is her entire character.
Yeah, and I think all girls, like, no matter who you are, I think everyone wants to believe this.
Yeah.
And some people truly believe this, and I truly believe it. And it's just, you know, it really sort of resonates with everyone. It's just like, you know, मैं अपनी favorite हूँ, and it's like this all encompassing thing about that person.
The dialogue comes at the point where Shahid Kapoor has just flushed down the picture of his ex-girlfriend, and this one, Geet is incredibly bubbly, and she's like, see, I told you, and I'm telling you that you are so good looking that any girl would have fallen for you. And then Shahid Kapoor just looks at her for a second and says that, you know, you really do love yourself, kind of thing. And then she's like, yeah, मैं अपनी favorite हूँ.
You know, which is so, like, you know, alien to Shahid Kapoor's character. Like, you know, he says after that, I wish I could be more like you.
Yeah.
Because he's never found that kind of love for himself. And I think that
Which is an interesting dynamic.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I think that is where, you know, it's a little bit like Manic Pixie Dream Girl kind of thing.
Exactly, yeah. Exactly. And I think, you know, that particular dialogue within the context and taken out of the context both work.
Obviously, Kareena Kapoor was perfect for this role.
Yeah.
I think in my head now it's said that no one else could have done this role.
So we were talking about Mughal Azam before my card got filled up. Yes.
Yeah. So he has a rose in his hand. He plucks out the rose part of it and gives it to Bahar, saying that because of your nice thoughts, because of your beautiful thoughts about love, you have gotten this.
तुम्हारा ख्याल इस फूल का मुस्तहिक है.
And then he says, तेरी महफिल में किस्मत आजमा के हम भी देखेंगे. And there's a line that Anarkali says, that very beautiful line it is.
तुम्हारा नजरिया ये है अनारकली, मोहब्बत हमने माना जिंदगी बर्बाद करती है, ये क्या कम है कि मर जाने पे दुनिया याद करती है.
So for those lines, Salim gives her thorns of the same flower. He's like, तुम्हारे नसीब में आया है. That means that is your fate. Like, you know, because you believe in this, you will always get thorns in your life. And to this, she says,
कांटों को मुरझाने का खौफ नहीं होता.
And I think the significance of that dialogue is very layered, because for one reason is that also that she will, like later on in the film, she will experience a very, very harsh sort of world because of her love for Salim. And so I think she also like sort of foreshadows it. You know, even though I have gotten thorns in my life, I will never like, you know, become wallowing in it. And later on also when Akbar says that, you know, you have to forget Salim, and I will not let him go away this way from me. She says that, but my love for him is true and everything. And she says that no matter where you put me, तहखाने में डाल दो, कहीं भी डाल दो, I will always still love him. And I think that, like, her whole like dilemma comes into this one line, and I really like it because of that. And in that moment, Salim realizes, oh, this woman is something beyond. She cannot be just, you know, that person who I can let go of like that.
And I think also it's interesting to see how the tone of the film also determines the dialogue. The tone of this film is large, epic. Love is a a sea of emotions. It is this huge thing, and in that huge thing there is this small dialogue which, you know, in some way also encompasses the entire like thematic thing of love in the film. Scent of a Woman, which is the last speech.
Mr. Sims doesn't want it. He doesn't need to be labeled still worthy of being a bad man. What the hell is that?
So this comes at the end of the film. So in the film what happens is that there is this boy, his name is Charlie Sims. He basically sees a couple of his college schoolmates doing some basically badmashi on the freaking ground and doing some stupidity. And in the morning, it so happens that it's a prank on their dean. Someone basically tells the dean that Charlie Sims had seen who has done it, and he can identify who has done it. In the end, there is supposed to be like, you know, student sort of like hearing kind of thing. It's an honor code kind of thing.
Yeah.
That is going on, and in that, this is Colonel Slate, who Charlie has been hanging out for the last 3-4
Who is
days.
Al Pacino.
Because he's taking care. He's taking care of him for the Christmas weekend, basically, as a job. And this scene in which he sort of like, you know, reprimands the dean by saying that, you know, you are sort of building a ship of snitches. Like, you know, that's not right. If you're going to teach these boys integrity, teach it the right way. Don't, you know, pull one person out just because you think he is coming from a smaller background and he has everything to lose. Yeah, I mean, like, I'll just quote it. But there's nothing like the sight of an amputated spirit, and there's no prosthetic for it.
Boys like these, younger than these, their arms torn out, their legs ripped off. But there is nothing like the sight of an amputated spirit. There is no prosthetic for that.
I think this is the exactly, like, it's a good example of how you can show motivation of someone's backstory through one dialogue. Like, you can really, you know that someone is so fueled by something. I mean, why would someone have such a huge emotional outburst if it didn't really mean something to him or have some value in his past? Which is good. Yeah.
And it also kind of also shows that how much he cares about this boy, because this entire film he's being a bitch to him in a lot of ways. In the end, he really pulls through for him, and he tells, like, you know, he stands up for him, and which is very different for him. Yeah.
This the other scene that I really enjoyed was her other suggestion, which is Good Will Hunting, and I loved that scene. I watched it thrice.
Of course that's your contention. You're a first-year grad student. You just got finished reading some Marxian historian, Pete Garrison probably. You're going to be convinced of that till next month when you get to James Lemon. Then you're going to be talking about how the economies of Virginia and Pennsylvania were entrepreneurial and capitalist way back in 1740. That's going to last until next year. You're going to be in here regurgitating Gordon Wood, talking about, you know, the pre-revolutionary utopia and the capital-forming effects of military mobilization.
Basically about how this one guy tries to act over smart just because, you know, Ben Affleck's character is talking to this really beautiful girl, Skylar, and and I think the most significant dialogue in this is
See, the sad thing about a guy like you is in 50 years you're going to start doing some thinking on your own, and you're going to come up with the fact that there are two certainties in life. One, don't do that. And two, you dropped 150 grand on a fucking education you could have got for $1.50 in late charges at the public library.
If you just see that scene, it is a script in itself. It's got a beginning, middle and an end firstly. Then on top of that dialogue sequence, that back and forth, so well written. And I don't know, unless you guys sit and write a script and write dialogue, I don't know how much you'll be able to understand how difficult it is to do something like that, where you have emotions, you have an argumentative point, and you have also put in your own context into those dialogues.
So now we're going to talk about how was your experience in dialogue writing and in writing scripting.
Okay, see, friends, let me just tell you. It's not that I'm so bad at dialogues, but I come up with some really iconic lines, such as वो die कैसे हो सकती है. If I don't think any of you watched Vivan, it's not even out, but it was our fiction film for our last semester, and it was the only one that was like a blown production that we did with different departments, etc. And I was obviously writing the script. And the context here is that there is a Chotu boy, and there is a maid who works in the Chotu boy's house, and the maid's niece has died. And this boy, Vivan is his name, is kind of appalled at the fact that how can this little girl, her little niece, die? So obviously, as kids are, in my mind, I said, वो die कैसे हो सकती है?
Eshna's never been a kid. Just saying.
I think I was born an 80-year-old.
So my experience with dialogue and scripting was very different because I was writing for a horror sort of film. And I knew what my director wanted.
Yeah.
Okay, and who he was casting. Okay, my director is very sure of himself. Niladri is I think he's one of the greatest directors in our batch.
I agree.
And like just working with him is so easy for me because we are in sync a lot of times. So I knew what I wanted to write for my dialogues because I knew that most of this film is going to be very visual. So my dialogues are very minimal, but it had to be very significant to what is happening.
But what Souza Srijana did versus what the actor did with it. Oh my god. Oh my god.
You should talk about it.
We got an actor, the child actor Vivan, whose name is Rig. Okay, Rig's acting, excellent. He would take the dialogue and completely make it his own. And there was not a single dialogue that sounded awkward, that looked awkward on screen while he was, saying it. So it's like this middle ground.
Dialogue is a very big mix between an actor, director, and the scriptwriter.
Yeah.
It cannot be that a dialogue becomes iconic just because it has to have the perfect delivery. And
exactly. It's the means through which the story is told. Yeah. So, okay. So, why don't you tell them to like, share, and subscribe, and please subscribe because I really need subscribers.
Guys, Eshna is trying very hard and we are supporting her a lot. बेचारी का पूरा पैसा इसमें लग गया है क्योंकि अब हम लोग फिल्म तो बना नहीं रहे. So please like, share, and subscribe. Actually, I really like this series which she's doing, which is talking to film students about like what we have learned in film school.
Yeah.
ताकि आपको पैसा ना खर्च करना पड़े. So please like, share, subscribe. See this beautiful face. I'll be back soon.
Yeah, she'll be back soon.
Okay.
Okay, ठीक है. Thank you. Toodles.
Noodles.
Yeah. Okay, bye.